Tonight on The Cycle, a tragic oil truck fire kills 150 people in Pakistan. Rex Tillerson doesn't seem to want to be Secretary of State, and Salvador Dali's body is getting exhumed over a paternity suit. All that and more coming to you live right now.
Hey, welcome to a new week at The Cycle. I'm Aaliyah Jasmine.
And I'm Jacques Slade. Here are today's biggest headlines in case you missed it.
The Congressional Budget Office estimates that 22 million Americans would lose health care insurance by 2026 under the Senate health care bill.
So that's fewer uninsured people than the House version. So, yay?
Yeah, despite this terrible CBO score, Republicans still look like they might have a chance to pass the bill this week.
So if this whole situation is giving you severe anxiety, best get your prescription filled before the weekend.
Noted. Next up, the Supreme Court ruled on President Trump's travel ban.
They said the ban could go into effect, but it will not apply to individuals with a bona fide relationship to the U.S. That means it will not apply to foreign travelers coming to the U.S. to visit family, attend university, or work for their employer.
The court won't actually hear arguments on the legality of the ban until sometime in October, and we'll all be watching very closely at that time.
All right, moving on. The UK finally has a government more than 2 weeks after their election.
Yeah, Prime Minister Theresa May will lead a coalition between her Conservative Party and the DUP Party of Northern Ireland.
All May had to do was give Northern Ireland an extra £1 billion of funding, and in return, the DUP will give the Conservatives the votes they need to carry out Brexit. It's deal-making at its finest.
And finally, President Trump met with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi today.
Modi has a lot of thoughts on the future of the U.S.-India relations, how the fast-growing economies in India present a unique opportunity for manufacturing, technology, and mutual defense and counterterrorism. He wrote a very interesting op-ed for the Wall Street Journal yesterday, and we'll post it in the comments down below.
Trump, on the other hand, took the opportunity to boast about he and Modi being the most popular world leaders on Twitter, each with over 30 million followers. He called them the world leaders in social media.
Yeah, doing it for the gram. I love that our president's doing it for the gram. Fun fact, many of the fake accounts that make up nearly half of Trump's Twitter followers are from server farms based in India.
That's actually not a joke, though.
Yeah, it's not a joke at all.
And that's in case you missed it.
And now for stories not getting the attention they deserve, it's below the fold.
An oil tanker explosion in Pakistan claimed 153 lives.
This story is so tragic. The driver of this tanker lost control and crashed on the side of the road. A huge group of men, women, and children then ran up to try and collect the approximately 6,000 gallons of fuel, and that's when it all went up in flames.
Yeah, moving on, in the wake of that high-rise fire a couple weeks ago, the City of London has tested the fire safety of 75 similar buildings.
And get this, all 75 buildings failed.
Wow.
It's because they're all built with the same flammable aluminum and plastic exterior as Grenfell Tower.
And now there's fears that many schools and hospitals may have the same exterior, which is actually banned in some buildings in the U.S. and in continental Europe.
You sort of feel like, you know, don't build buildings out of materials, will catch fire would be an early lesson in architecture school, but I guess not.
And now the U.S.-based manufacturer Alcoa Aluminum could be liable, so we'll certainly keep you updated as we learn more.
Yeah, next story. An unknown hacker group called Team System DZ displayed some pro-ISIS propaganda on the website of Ohio Governor and failed GOP presidential candidate John Kasich.
Kasich's IT team removed the message, which said, quote, "I love Islamic State." The hack also targeted other state websites, including the one belonging to Ohio's First Lady.
Yet again, extremists target one of our most precious assets, Karen Kasich's list of staycation destinations.
That's actually what it is. Moving on, YouTube has opened its new Uptime app to the public.
The app lets you and your friends watch and react to YouTube videos at the exact same time.
Finally, now you know if your friend is really laughing out loud at that stupid cat video you sent them.
Yeah, LOL's not going to work anymore. Finally, a Spanish court ordered the exhumation of Salvador Dali's body.
Yeah, it's all part part of a paternity lawsuit in which a woman is suing to be recognized as Dali's daughter, even though it's widely speculated that the surrealist painter remained celibate his entire life.
She's been trying to prove this claim for 10 years, or at least she thinks it's been 10 years. It's hard to keep track because all her watches and clocks, they keep melting. They keep like...
And she also doesn't have any real concrete evidence other than the fact that she can grow a really amazing mustache. As you know, for the record, so can I. So.
And that's below the fold.
Okay, moving on. There was a lot of attention today given to cases the Supreme Court has chosen to take up in its next term, but we want to draw your attention to a case they chose not to rule on. In case you thought it was TLDR or too long, didn't read, let's break this down for you.
Yes. It's yet another case of a law enforcement officer shooting a young person of color in what can only loosely be called self-defense. But there's really an important twist.
Yeah, so here's the details. In 2010, a 15-year-old Mexican boy named Sergio Hernandez was playing with his friends along the Rio Grande River, just barely on the Mexico side of the U.S.-Mexico border. Now, a Border Patrol agent on the American side saw the boys and thought they were trying to sneak into the United States.
The agent confronted them. They ran, and they started throwing rocks at him.
Right.
And the agent responded by shooting Sergio Hernandez in the face.
Yeah, okay, so what separates this from other similar cases is that the shooter and the victim were in different countries. For the past 7 years, Hernandez's family has been trying to get justice, but the jurisdictional hurdle has been too much to overcome.
The U.S. Justice Department declined to take up the case, saying the agent acted in self-defense. Mexican authorities want to prosecute, but the U.S. has refused to extradite him.
Yeah, which brings us to today's decision. Without the opportunity for a criminal case, the boy's family is trying to sue. Now, lower courts have ruled that since the boy isn't a U.S. citizen and wasn't on American soil, he has no constitutional rights.
If the Supreme Court had simply rejected the case, that's where things would stand. But they asked the lower court to reconsider its ruling, essentially saying your decision doesn't work for us. Try again.
Yeah, it seems obvious at first glance. Of course, Border Patrol agents shouldn't be able to just shoot kids on the other side of the border and get away with it. But the implications of a decision like this could be much broader.
The justices are worried about this case creating precedent for things like drone strikes in the Middle East when the pilot is based in the U.S. It's a fair question with essentially no legal precedent.
Okay, but this is a complicated situation, and the sad reality is that one family's right to justice might get lost in the bureaucratic mess just because there happened to be a man-made line in the earth between the boy and his killer.
And that's TLDR.
Okay, next up, quick pop quiz. Name something important Rex Tillerson has done since becoming Secretary of State.
Pre-order Jay-Z's new album.
I don't think he did that.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
No. And if you can't answer, or you don't have a better answer than Jacques, that's okay, because let's be honest, he hasn't really done anything, and we want to tell you why this matters.
Secretary of State is one of the most important jobs in the world, but it seems that all Rex does is walk down hallways, shake hands with foreign diplomats, then awkwardly stand there until he's allowed to leave.
All indications are that Tillerson has exactly zero interest in fulfilling the State Department's mission, and it's not just that he looks like a kid waiting for his mom to stop lecturing him whenever he's in public. Earlier this month, he went in front of the Senate to argue in favor of a plan to cut his department's budget by 30%. Have you ever seen a leader arguing that he should have less money to work with?
No, there's also the fact that the State Department has about 200 empty jobs that don't seem anywhere close to getting filled. But Tillerson has said he intends to ramp up hiring once he finished a review of the department, which should be done by the end of the year.
And one area where you'd expect the former CEO of ExxonMobil to have some sway in the Middle East, since he probably made some good contacts in his old oil gig, well, Rex did try to calm people down when Saudi Arabia and a bunch of other countries cut off diplomatic ties with Qatar. He encouraged the U.S. to take a neutral position and help mediate the conflict. So,
But the president didn't get that message. Trump sent out a tweet the day after Rex's statement that enthusiastically sided with the Saudis.
So unsuccessful, right?
Yeah.
Rex also came up short in trying to enlist the Chinese to help force North Korea to stop its missile tests. He's already remained essentially silent on the growing conflict between the U.S. and Iran in Syria. So why does it matter if our Secretary of State is essentially a human shrug emoji?
That's funny. All right, let's pick just one example. How about when the USS Fitzgerald, when it crashed into a container ship off the coast of Japan, leaving 7 sailors dead? In an incident like this, the Navy Secretary and the Ambassador to Japan will play huge roles in coordinating the search for the survivors.
Only one problem, we don't have anyone in either of those jobs.
Oh, so events in the world are not going to stop just because our Secretary of State can't be bothered to do anything?
Not how it works.
All right, the State Department is supposed to be one of the strongest voices when it comes to foreign policy.
And given our current president, we could really use a strong Secretary of State to help prevent World War III. That's not what we have, though. We've got Rex Tillerson, an oil man who does his job as enthusiastically as a DMV employee.
Oh, God, I hate the DMV. And that's why this matters.
Human shrug emoji.
Human shrug.
At least he bought that Jay-Z album. Finally today, Oscar Mayer announced that 2 new vehicles will join their Wiener fleet.
That's right. The world-famous Wienermobile, Wiener Rover, and Wiener Mini will now be complemented by a Wiener Cycle, and get this, a Wiener Drone.
Everyone has a drone these days. That's right. For the 4th of July, Oscar Mayer wants you to know that they've made their hot dogs healthier, and what better way to spread the word than by literally dropping sausages out of the sky.
But, to be honest, the real question, will the Wiener Drone be piloted by the one and only Anthony Weiner? Get it, Anthony Weiner, Wienermobile, yeah, it's funny. It's I don't care what you guys think.
That
it's
was
funny.
hashtag,
Whatever, it's
that
funny.
was a Rex Tillerson
That's
joke.
what the people want to say. That's what people want to know. Oscar Mayer, let us know. Tell us. You can hit me on the Twitter.
And that's it for The Cycle today. Thank you for watching.
Be sure to follow us at The Cycle Live. We'll see you tomorrow. Make sure to follow us at The Cycle Live on Twitter and Instagram.
And like, share, subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook, all that good stuff at The Cycle Live.